Welcome you all. Welcome to this new edition of Lectio Musica, the place for great music, great lyrics, and great meaning. My name is Guylain Prince. I'm a Franciscan friar from Canada, and I love rock music since as long as I can remember, especially hard rock, metal, and prog. Once a week, we stop by. All together we sit down and we listen to a song closely, trying to understand the words, trying to see how the song is constructed, and finally try to understand what is the meaning of the song. And we are still in a beautiful journey. Let me give you the screen right away. We are still in a beautiful journey with Nightwish. It's, I would say, a survey of their part of their repertoire in chronological order. This is the fifth song. It's called Gethsemane. It comes from an album of 1998 called Oceanborn. Now, last week we did Angel Falls First. Maybe you would like to go back to the other reaction videos and analysis videos, because every time I do two videos on one song, a reaction video on live and a studio version with lyrics, and a few days after there is this analysis like this one of the same song in English. The reaction videos are in French. I explained myself on that many times, so go back to the other videos. Don't forget, if you want to be notified as soon as a new video is out, just push the little subscribe button as well as the bell beside it. The bell will notify you as soon as a new video comes out. Now, this song, like I said, from Oceanborn, it is the second song on the album. It will be followed by another song we will do, The Devil and the Deep Dark Ocean. Lyricist and composer is Thomas. Now, this song begins with a very steady double bass. I made you notice, if you haven't, it's really a classical music style introduction, except it is amplified, but it's classical music. Now, the powerful rhythm section, classical piano is in there. If I'm not mistaken, the cycle is repeated 2 times here and a little bit later in the song. When comes the lyrics, the beat is very steady, dun, 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 dun. And I really like the energy of the drummer on this, Yuka. I think it's one of his signature beat. It's not the only song I've heard him do that, but there is a quality to it. There's a jump in the beat. You really feel that you are carried by something, by music, and you're going somewhere. There's a lightness in it. Now the words. Toll no bell for me, Father, but let this cup of suffering pass from me. Send me no shepherd to heal my world, but the angel, the dream foretold. Prayed more than thrice for you to see the wolf of loneliness in me. Not my own will, but yours be done. There are a few tricks in this first paragraph, but it will set the table for the whole song, so we will take the time on this one. This song, we will say a little bit more about it, is a blend, it's an hybrid, it's a combination of 2 stories. The one is called The Beauty and the Beast. Someone who is ugly outside and inside falls in love with a beauty, and for him this is the chance to be transformed by the beauty into to get out of a spell. So there is the idea, this image of the beauty and the beast. There's also the other story, which is part of Jesus' story, the night before he was arrested and judged and killed. So the night before, he lived an experience called the agony in a garden called Gethsemane. Gethsemane. Gethsemane means to be pressed. And the idea is that from the raisins that you get, the grapes you get from the vine, you put them in a tool called in French the pressoir. This is the pressoir, Gethsemane. It refers to the fact that someone will be pressed, will be crushed. This is the meaning of Gethsemane. Father, don't ring the bell. Don't ring the alarm as if it was something extremely urgent or terrible happening. But let this cup of suffering pass from me. This is literally a phrase from Jesus. The cup of suffering pass from me. So Jesus says exactly that. Father, let this cup of suffering pass off, and but not my own will, but yours be done. So there is something very a suffering, and please deliver me from that suffering. Send me no shepherd to heal my world. Now, here, shepherd, I see only one meaning, but maybe you would see another one. What do you think if you replace the word shepherd by pastor? Send me no pastor to heal my world. I don't want a religious man to come to me. I don't want to. No, but I want the angel. I think the angel here is the beauty. Because in the story of the agony, there is an angel to console Jesus. But here I would tend to think that it's not an angel from heaven, but an expected beauty. A person. This is so. Don't send me anybody, just the person I expect to have beside me. I would understand it that way, even if it refers to the angel, consoling angel in the text of the gospel. For me, this is how I would break the sentence. Send me no shepherd to heal my world, but the angel, the dream foretold. And there prayed more than thrice for you to see. Now, I don't think the angel prayed. I think the person living the suffering is just stating that I prayed more than thrice, more than 3 times for you to see. So, this is how I would understand it, more than the prayer of the angel. It doesn't make sense to me much, but maybe you see sense. You are resourceful people, and more than once you found solutions to, for me, passages that were unclear. For me, I would understand, send me no shepherd but the angel, period. I prayed more than thrice for you to say, the wolf of loneliness in me. So the person, the composer, the writer, is saying there was a wolf of loneliness, that would be the beast of loneliness. So there is a loneliness and there is an expectation to be with someone, the angel I want to see. But not my own will, but yours be done. So this is a song that is built as a prayer, like a prayer, that talking to the Lord, talking to maybe Jesus or the Father. Well, in fact, no, it is addressed to the Father here. So it would be the Creator. Now, next paragraph. You see how beautiful it is, huh? It's I would say the combination of words and music it's very well written compared to others that we saw a little bit before. Now, the chorus, I will bring to you a certain understanding of the chorus. The main voice is the choir and not Tarja. And what the main voice, and here for me there is a little difficulty in the way artistic direction of the song, as if they didn't want the choir to be in front of the voice of Tarja. But in fact, the real chorus, the complete chorus, is sung by the choir. And if you listen closely, you will hear, "You wake up, where's the tomb? Will Easter come and turn my room?" You wake up. They give meaning in a new way to me. You wake up, where's the tomb? As if they're saying, in fact, I think that the choir speaks for the person in the first verse, the one lyricist saying, "You wake up." He's talking to himself. This is how I would understand. You wake up. Where's the tomb? Is that so bad? Are you in such a terrible situation? Will Easter come? Enter my room. Oh, my Easter will be the coming of the beauty. Okay? So will it arrive? The Lord weeps with you. The Lord is crying with you. So there is a synchronicity between the suffering of the Lord before death and the suffering of the composer or the lyricist. In the situation he describes, the Lord weeps with you. He lives the agony with you. And my tears fall for you. Now, he's not talking to him anymore, from my understanding. He is turning towards the beauty. This is how I would... My tears fall for you, talking to the beauty. What do you think of that interpretation? So, wake up. Where's your tomb? Is that terrible? Is that so terrible? And will Easter come into my room? But what kind of Easter? Is it the real Easter from a real death, or is there something else? But anyways, the Lord lives with you, your agony. That's how I would understand it. After, there is if I noticed very little differences between the intro and this éther, both having, I would say, a repetition, 2 cycles, we say. Now we come to the third verse. Another beauty loved by a beast. So there you have the allusion very clear that another story, another thing that we already seen, repeated story, or story on repeat. Another one, beast, not having a reciprocal relation, love relation with a beauty. Another tale of infinitely dreams. Now I want to hear my English-speaking subscribers here. It doesn't sound to me very well written. This line. Another tale of I would say infinite dreams, or I cannot make sense. Well, No, it's understandable. Another story of dreams that are infinite in a way, but it doesn't strike me as well written here. Your eyes, so now he's talking, the beast is talking to the beauty, I think. Your eyes, they were my paradise, you understand that very well. Your smile made my sun rise. This is a very naive poetry about love, and your eyes were my paradise and your smile made my sun rise. Well, I'll let you be the judge of that. Forgive me, for I don't know what I gain, alone in this garden of pain. Enchantment has but one truth. I weep to have what I fear to lose. This paragraph is wonderful in from many point of view. Forgive me, for I don't know what I gain from alone in this garden of pain. So maybe there was something important in Jesus' agony. Maybe there was something that we can understand, the fruit of this. But me, in my agony, I see nothing. I don't see the point. This situation is unbearable, and I don't see the point. I don't see what I have to gain. But I will tell you, by the end of the song, there's an explanation. Something has to be gained from that. Enchantment has but one truth. Now, this is a very interesting statement here. Enchantment has only one truth. Okay. So there are many untrue enchantment. But an enchantment that has something to do with truth, there's only one thing that could happen. I weep to have what I fear to lose. I cry to have, I want to have what I fear to lose. And the beast is want to have the beauty, but at the same time fears like hell to lose the beauty. You see how it is? And this is the only truth about enchantment, is this distance from the beauty. At the same time, there is something in that relation, not coming to completion on one side, but not being cut or destroyed on the other side. And there is enchantment in that. And we will see that it might be the state of the poet where he is the most inspired. This is how I would understand here the inspiration, the extremely fruitful moment. Of course, side stories make great songs. Sad stories are great inspiration for the poet. You know already this chorus. Now you have a beautiful instrumental bridge. I love Nightwish rhythm section since the beginning. I love it today. Great rhythm section. The riff, the bass line is wonderful. Again comes in this flute. I wonder if Thomas ever heard any music from Gentle Giant. But Gentle Giant in the prog world in the 1970s, was the band that introduced the flute in a prog band in a way, and it became after quite a fashionable to have a flute in very heavy bands sometimes. We have that here. Again, another great rhythm section, riff and bass line, repeated two times like the first one. And then there's a suspension and the strings enter very light, very, very light. And the instrumental voice of Tarja, and then there is the beat that I was telling you about from Yuka, which has a lot, everything seems to fall into place at this moment. So we wonder if, I wondered, will there be an encounter with the beloved, the Beauty and the Beast? But what a surprise. This very, I will say it like this, but you will get what I mean. What is that bizarre habit that Thomas has to quote a poem in his own song? And who wrote these poems that we've seen already in Nightwish, and that I've seen countless of times already? I lost the count. Every time Thomas writes, he feels compelled to quote someone else. Or is it his own poem? Why this idea of having, in quotation mark, a section of the song? That I don't understand for now. What I suspect, and tell me, maybe you have the answer somewhere. What I suspect is this would be a poem, maybe, that the Beast, you don't know who is the Beast, wrote about a beauty. You don't know who is the beauty. Probably he wrote a poem, and the poem is the initial spark of the song. This is how I would read this. I knew you never before. I never knew you well before. I see you nevermore. I don't see you anymore. But the love, the pain, the hope, oh beautiful one, the love, I lived so much pain, hope, and love, beautiful one. You are already, in a way, you are mine, because I wrote so much poetry about you. Dear, and you are already mine, you are already inside me, till all my years are done, because you were the muse of my poetry. That's my suggestion to you. You have a suspension. I thought the song was finished, and then, without you, the poetry within me is dead. Now the instrumental, the extra is on track. Again, I call it on track because everything falls into focus, all the instruments. And there's a discrete guitar solo. I find sometimes Empu a little bit too discrete. This is the case for the first part of the solo on the backbeat. Part of it is on the backbeat. And there's a dialogue in the solo. They share the solo. You have, so at that one moment, you have one rhythm guitar on the right, one rhythm guitar on the left. You have one solo guitar on the right and one solo guitar on the left. So you have 4 guitars at one moment at the end. Plus you have a steady bass and keyboards all over the place. You are in front of what is called a wall of sound. You have sound, it's full. The ears, listen to that closely, you have it right in the face. The poet and the composer is not dead. is not dead because he's full blast at this moment. And the beauty is part of his life, of his history. It's part of his art. Now the lyrics. The song is written with better skills than what we heard before. It's well written. A hybrid story built from the story of the Beauty and the Beast and the Garden of Gethsemane, the Garden of Agony of Jesus. The description of the pain, the in-between situation between being with the beloved one, the beauty, or losing her completely, is an in-between situation. There's a description of an in-between situation that causes pain. But it's source of inspiration for the poet. The music, an intro, inter, totally classic. There's an inversion of the beat in the middle of the verse. I love when Nightwish do that, and then they come back to the original beat. Full guitar bass extravaganza. This song is full guitar and bass and woof. With melodies that have been reserved to the voice, the flute and the keyboards, culminating in a wall of sound at the end. Now, in terms of meaning, there is an extremely painful state in what I call the in-between, to being fully with the beloved, but so there's not the completion in the love, but there's not either the losing of the person. It's between the expectation of being with and to be afraid of losing. You see, this is really an excruciating, this is an agony that he compares to the agony of Christ before his death. That was painful. A situation quite painful. And here the question is, the Easter will be the complete relation with the beloved, of course, but will it come? There's a question mark here in the chorus. Still, a believer at the time, the composer, feel the proximity of the Lord to his agony. There's a kind of sympathy between the Lord and the agony of the, I would call it the beast. Now the title is a reference, clear reference to the pain, the agony before the passing of to something else. This is the idea of crushing the grapes coming from the vine to make wine. And so there is a passage, very excruciating, a moment before there is Easter wine or deliverance. The title is really talking about this very painful moment. The last line suggests that the beauty lost means the death of the poet. If the beauty is gone, inspiration is gone. So the poet is in agony, but also in a state of creativity. So he's afraid to lose the beauty and to lose inspiration at the same time. Will I lose my muse? In French we would say my muse, my source of inspiration, hence my inspiration. This is it, group. This is it. I hope you liked it. I loved it. I loved it. It's a challenging song, though, for the words. So next week we will see the Devil in the Deep Dark Ocean from Oceanborn 1998. You will have the reaction on Wednesday, the reaction video with, I remind you, in English, Spanish, Italian and French subtitles. Same thing with the analysis few days later. It's always with the 4 languages subtitles, so you can follow whatever is your language, any of these. Don't forget you can subscribe to this channel, and you can push the little bell if you want to be notified as soon as a new video comes out. So for this week, that was a fun ride. See you for another great song. See you. Bye bye.